I'm here with Professor Kendall Thomas, professor at Columbia Law School. He's visiting FGV this week, giving a course on US constitutional law as part of the Global Law program. So, Professor Thomas, I'd like you to talk a little bit about this experience of a global law program and the value of having students in the same classroom, students from different nationalities and different stages at the core of the course. And also, I would like you to talk a little bit about the value of diversity in education.
Well, first let me say how pleased and happy I am that I was invited to participate in FGV's Global Law program. I've had a great time this week. The students are superb, and we have learned together in each of our sessions something about US constitutional law and constitutional politics, but also about Brazilian constitutional law and constitutional politics. And I think it's fair to say that the experience we've had this week has been one, for me, in which I've learned at least as much as I have taught the students. And that captures for me both the promise and the possibilities of global legal education. It's an exciting time to be a young person studying law. We live in an interconnected world. Lawyers from civil law and common law systems are engaged with one another in business, in public law, human rights law, in ways that I think require a level of literacy that is unique to this moment. And from where I sit, the advantage of programs such as the Global Law program at FGV is that it allows your students to be exposed as part of their training to the world of global law, and it allows them to gain a literacy that will position them to be effective advocates, to be effective transactional lawyers, to be effective in the human rights realm, and I think that's very exciting. So to be part of that with such a diverse group of students has been particularly rewarding. I teach LLM students at Columbia in a course called Introduction to American Law. It's the first course that our students take, and we must have students from 60 or so countries. And it's always a wonderful and rewarding experience for me to see these students come in from their own jurisdictions, from their own national legal systems, and engage in conversations about American law with students from other students from non-American systems. So it's an opportunity to study American law, but simply by virtue of the fact that we come from so many different countries, it's an analysis, or an introduction rather, to American law that is at the same time comparative. And for me, that is what makes for good global legal education. Right? You don't focus just on one area, one system, but you bring to bear methods and perspectives, and with those methods and perspectives, questions that ask of that legal system, questions that people who are inside the legal system might not think to ask. So it's always a very exciting experience for me. And this week, I've been able to confirm the value of the work that I do at Columbia with the students in our LLM program and with our exchange students with this group in Brazil. I've taught as well at the Federal University Law faculty in Paraná. And I feel as though Brazil has offered me a unique opportunity to do field research, pedagogical field research, to figure out what works best when I'm teaching American law to students who've been trained in another legal system. So the value of diverse perspectives and a broad range of literacies, I think, make for a critical component to global legal education, which I'm experiencing in a particularly rewarding way this week in the class that I'm teaching to your students. You asked me about diversity. It's an important value, but it's a hard conversation to have, because the question of diversity has been encrusted in the US, and I would imagine in Brazil as well, in so many misconceptions, misunderstandings, stereotypes, deliberate resistances, that it's hard to have an honest conversation about the added value, if you will, of diversity. We typically, when we talk about diversity, we are talking about diversity of identity. It's important to have gender parity. It's important to have ethno-racial parity. It's important to have students who are the first generation in their family to go to university. It's important to have students from rural areas. It's important to have students from urban areas. It's important to have students in the American context whose first language was not English. Why is that important? Well, it's not simply or solely about the identity of these students, but it's about the social location and the connected experiences that a broad range of students bring into the classroom. And that diversity of location, of experience, and of perspective opens up intellectual possibilities that would otherwise be unavailable to us. So diversity is important for me, first and foremost, because of the added value it brings to the intellectual experience of studying law. But I also think that, particularly in the law, it's a question of the role that these young lawyers are going to be playing in the larger society. Not just as technicians, but as citizens who, by virtue of their professional training, have a special competence, and I believe a particular responsibility to advance a civic understanding among the broader population of law and of the idea or the ideal of the rule of law. Yesterday in class, the students and I had a conversation about a very interesting aspect of Brazilian law. I understand that the Brazilian Constitution confers the right on every Brazilian citizen to have a copy of the Brazilian Constitution. Right? And I put it to the students that as future members of the legal profession, they have a special responsibility to advance the civic mission of legal education and of law schools in Brazil, right? To make sure that the Brazilian government respects the right of each and every Brazilian citizen to have the opportunity to acquire basic literacy in constitutional law and constitutional values. That, I think, is only possible when you have a diverse student body with diverse perspectives and diverse experiences of what the lived experience of constitutional law is on the ground. So I don't think there's any question or doubt at all about the value of diversity. And the fact that it's possible in your global law program, I think is one of the reasons that your global law program has acquired the reputation it has over the life of its existence.
Thank you so much, Professor. I think it's really a unique opportunity to have you here and to share your democratic perspective of law. I think for us, which is the discussion of law and development it's very important. It's really great to have this view that there is no system that is better than others. Every system has its particularities, and also the dialogue makes all the systems better.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.